right, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Big old welcome for Eddie Hejka.
Good to see you. Thanks. Okay. So a number of years ago, I'm driving down 6 Mile in Detroit with my son, 19-year-old son, Samme. And Samme looks at me and says, "Tata, can I have a grilled cheese, please?" Now, we'd been driving around all day doing different errands, and he'd been really good. So, we're passing by this little Coney Island neighborhood diner. And I said, "Sure, Samme." So we pull into the parking lot, and it's a little tiny place, never been to. We go in, there's like 6 or 7 tables, on a counter where people are eating, and sit down at the table. The waitress comes up. "Hi, my name's Aisha," and Samme says, "Hi, Aisha. My name is Samme. What's your age? What's your birthday?" And then she tells him, and he tells her what year she's born, and she's really sweet to him. And she takes her order, goes away, and Samme looks at me, and he says, "Tata, can I go ask questions, please?" See, Samme has autism and Tourette's, and he has these obsessions. And one of them is meeting people, getting their names and birthdays, these numbers. And so I said, "Sure, Samme, you can go ask questions." So he gets up, goes to the next table, and he leans in. And he says, "Hi, my name is Samme." And he starts asking their names and birthdays and ages. And, he'd ask these questions if people didn't answer, because sometimes they'd look like, "What?" And he would think they didn't understand the question. So he would just say, "Your age, the number." But they were very sweet, so he went to the next table, the men eating at the counter, and then he, when he's done, he comes and sits back down. We get our food, and we're eating, and there's one table, folks get up, and on their way out, they make sure to stop at the table and say, "Bye, Samme. Nice to meet you, Samme. Bye, Samme." And they're all really sweet, and they leave, and when we finish and pay our bill and leave our tip, we get up to go, and everybody in the restaurant, "Bye, Samme. Bye, Samme." The guys up at the counter, "Bye, Samme." The waitresses, "Bye, Samme." The short order cook, "Bye, Samme." You see, Samme has this disability, but he also has this incredible ability that I've never seen before, the ability to build community wherever he goes. I've never been with anybody else at a Target or a Myers where you leave after shopping for 20 minutes or a half hour and 24 different people. "Bye, Samme. Bye, Samme. Nice to meet you, Samme." But he can do this, Though, to be honest, it doesn't always go so smoothly. We've been thrown out of a lot of places. We've been kicked out of movie theaters. We've had security called on us from different various businesses and public events, and people threatened to kick my ass, kick his ass. A couple unfortunate incidents with the police, and so I don't want Samme to be, he's a grown man. I don't want him always having to be with me and be protected. I want him to be independent in this world. And when I'm dead and my wife is gone, he's going to rely a lot more on the kindness of strangers. So I let him venture out in this world, but I always keep this incredibly watchful eye and this barrel full of worry with me. Like this one time, we were at this arts festival, my wife and I, and at the time we had 6 kids, Sam, Terrell, Mike, Josette, Taryn, Elizabeth, and it was Arts Beats and Eats back when it was still up in Pontiac. And there's this huge crowd, and the kids were doing some kind of kids' activities and whatnot, and we decided we're going to go get some food at the big food tent. And we're heading along, counting heads, keeping an eye on all the kids, and Sammy was about 13 at the time, but he was already a very big kid. And he starts getting ahead through the crowd. He's moving fast. And I'm trying to keep up with him. Excuse me, getting through the crowd. And Michelle says, "I got the rest of the kids. You just keep up to Sam. We'll meet you up at the tent." And I'm trying to keep up with him, but he's plowing right through the crowd. And I look where he's heading, about 20 yards ahead of him. I'm like, shit. There's a mom with a newborn baby. And he's fascinated with babies at this time. And he'd bend down right into the stroller, get this close and say, "Hi, my name is Samme. Are you 0 years old? Do you drive a tiny car?" And you could always quickly tell the new parents, the ones with this is their first child, because they'd freak out, to the one who this is child number 5. Yeah, whatever, And I'm like, shit. And it looks like the child has Down syndrome. And I'm like, oh, shit, he's going to scare the hell out of this mom. And I'm picking up my pace, getting through the crowd. Excuse me. As I'm getting close, I'm just about close enough to say something. And Sammy bends down really quick towards the baby. And the mom's leaning over the baby, putting a pacifier in his mouth, just as Sam's coming down at him. And she looks up and she says, "Hi, Sammy." I stopped dead in my tracks. And she looks around to her friends and family. She's with this big group, and they go, "Hey, look, it's Sammy." And they're like, "Hey, Sammy, hey, Sammy." And they're all glad-handing, and Sammy's telling them all what their names are and their ages and their birth dates. And I'm just frozen. Michelle catches up to me with the rest of the kids, and we're standing there. When they're all done talking, we say, "Excuse me, can you tell us, how do you know our son?" And so last year, it was July, we were up in Higgins Lake on the beach, and Sam was going up and down the beach asking everybody their names and their birth dates, and he remembered everybody's name and birth date. And so here we are in this huge crowd with this big group of new friends, eating and drinking and talking and laughing, all because Sammy doesn't know that we're supposed to have these mental lines drawn in our heads separating us from one another.